It's a nice day outside. Good evening, everyone. Much better, much better. We're here to honor our scholar athletes. We've got to be a little more excited to honor our great students that are not only great at academics, but also great at athletics. And that is key, I think, for our athletes today, to not only just be good on the field or on the court or on the field, but also to be great at academics. So our Carlos is here, Mr. Cotto, and I'm going to have him take us through the program. I'll ask my colleagues that are here to come down so we can honor the great work that all of our scholar athletes put forth. Not only are you models to the Rochester City School District, but you are also models for the larger community. So I want to thank the families for coming out today and our athletes, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Leo so we can give great credit and really honor all of you for all of your hard work and accomplishments. Mr. Cotto.
Good evening. My name is Mr. Cotto. I'm the Executive Director of Health, Physical Education, Athletics for the Rochester City School District. And before we get started, I'd just like to thank the board for giving me the opportunity to recognize our scholar athletes this evening for their accomplishments this year, as well as in sending them off this summer to make, doing some great things. The Rochester City Athletic Conference, which is the league in which we represent, has selected one male and one female athlete from each and every school. These athletes have been identified within that building as true leaders and role models to their building and the community as a whole. In order to become a scholar athlete, they have to, your child has to have a GPA of a 3.0 or higher, 93% attendance, excellent citizenship, and they're true leaders and role models in program, building, and the community. As I call your names, please come forward to be recognized. I would like to also apologize in advance if I mispronounce your names. From school number 44, Theodore Roosevelt. Number 4, no, I'm sorry, I was just naming the school. Shakir Witcher. Shakir Witcher. Shakir is an 8th grader who currently has a 3.31 GPA. His college of interest is RIT, looking to major in technology. Next, from Nathaniel Rochester, Elizabeth Miller Wilcox. Elizabeth is an 8th grader with a 3.8 GPA, also College of Interest, RIT, cosmetology. Oh, From Nathaniel Rochester, Naja Boswell. Seventh grader with a 3.78 GPA, College of Interest at this current time, MCC, dentistry. From school number 9, James Struthers. James Struthers, I know he's here in the bathroom. Okay. We'll get back to James. From Rochester International Academy, Salam Z. Michael. Eighth grader, 3.29 GPA, looking at MCC and St. John Fisher, and looking to study nursing. Also from Rochester International Academy, Fa Air Tha Ta. Eighth grader with a 4.17 GPA. Looking to major in architect or construction. Next up, from Wilson Magnet High School, Veronica Ardon. Senior with a 4.0 GPA, attending Castleton College and looking to major in nursing. Also from Wilson Magnet, Quahim Marshall. Quahim's also a senior with a 3.4 GPA. He's got a scholarship, football scholarship to Gannon University. Looking to major in sports and exercise science. Northeast College Prep, Brandy Spencer. '11th grader with a 4.0 GPA. He's got quite a few colleges: University of Buffalo, Lemoyne, University of Niagara. And looking to major in physical therapy or human services. Northwest College Prep, Demetrius Petway. '11th grade, 3.13 GPA. Colleges of interest: SUNY Brockport, Canton, and Onondaga Community College. Looking at nursing, electrical engineering, or interior design. Northwest College Prep, Rachel Harris. '10th grader, 3.88 GPA. College of interest is Harvard or Yale. Looking to major in law. Next, from World of Inquiry, Eva Miguel Garateres. Ninth grader with a 3.96 GPA. Looking colleges of interest, RIT, and majoring in engineering. World of Inquiry, Lloyd Davis. Lloyd is a ninth grader, 3.66 GPA. College of interest, Georgetown. Looking to major in law. Edison Tech Campus, Akil Tyson. Akil's a senior, 3.35 GPA. Colleges of interest, Mount Union or Westfield. Looking to major in athletic training. Edison Tech Campus, Avion Powell. '12th grader, 3.73 GPA, colleges of interest, Cayuga or St. Bonaventure, and looking to major in biology or neurosurgeon. East High School, Kenya Williams. '12th grader, 4.0 GPA, looking to attend Hilbert College and study psychology. East High School, Cody Pinkins. Senior, 3.6 GPA, College of Interest, Alfred State, Business Management. School of the Arts, Jonathan Feliciano. Senior, 3.15 GPA, SUNY Cortland, looking to also study psychology. School of the Arts, Brianna Brinkley. Senior, 3.10 GPA. Alfred University, athletic training and physical therapy are her majors, choice. Monroe High School, Dominique Cardwell. Senior, 3.75 GPA, Finger Lakes Community College, Business Administration. Monroe High School, Carlos Caraballo. Sophomore, 3.75 GPA, College of Interest, RIT, Automotive Design. Charlotte Tatiana Vargas. Senior, 3.0 GPA, Colleges of Interest, MCC in Buffalo State, culinary arts, or business or nursing. She's got a couple choices. Charlotte Angelique Hargrove. Senior, 3.64 GPA, College of Interest, GCC, majoring in criminal justice. Rochester Early College International, Devontae Walker. Sophomore, 3.3 GPA, Western Carolina, and major undecided as of right now. Rochester Early College International, Precious Harris. 11th grader, 3.68 GPA, and I'm still undecided for college and major. Leadership Academy for Young Men, Jordan Richardson. Sophomore, 4.46 GPA, Colleges of Interest, St. John Fisher College, Brockport, or UB, physical therapy and personal training. Okay, we're going to go back and find James. What's that? Okay, school number 9, James Struthers. Seventh grader, 3.69 GPA, College of Interest, University of Texas, and major undecided. If we can give all of our scholar athletes one more round of applause. And can I have them all come up for one quick picture? Just one quick group picture. I'm trying to see if... Yeah, along with the board members? Looking for Patricia. Okay, one more round of applause. Thank you.
Board members, you can stay here. So June is always a month of recognition, graduations, but we also like to recognize students that are excelling and doing the right thing as we head off to the summer. Is Alicia Ward here? Okay. And Alicia, are you ready with your presentation? Alicia Ward has been involved with, as we know, ATAD, Association for Teenage Diplomats, for many years. And I'm going to call her forward to say a little bit about the ATAD program and also recognize two students? One student who have the distinction of traveling to a foreign country this year. Ms. Ward?
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation. And now we will have the President of Association for Teenage Diplomats, Ms. Peggy Lowe.
Thank you, Alicia, and thank you to Board President Malik Evans and the rest of the board for allowing the Association for Teenage Diplomats to make this presentation this evening. Before Ms. Ward makes the actual presentation, I'd like to just take a few seconds to tell you a little bit about the Association for Teenage Diplomats, which is so near and dear to my heart. We are a not-for-profit, all-volunteer organization which coordinates high school exchanges in the greater Rochester area, primarily with our sister cities. Our purpose is to improve understanding of peoples and cultures through family living experiences. We are always looking for Rochester students who are interested in going abroad and families who are interested in hosting. Every year we offer scholarships for Rochester City School District students who are interested in participating in our international experience. Now for the presentation of this year's winner, Miss Alicia Ward.
Thank you, Peggy. At this time, it is with great pleasure that I present the Gary Simon Memorial Scholarship. The Gary Simon Memorial Scholarship is in honor of a former teacher at Wilson Magnet. This evening, we have our Gary Simon Memorial Scholar, Nair Oldfield. Nair is a student at Northeast College Prep. He is a rising senior and will be spending his summer basking in the sun in Mallorca, Spain.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Nair.
I want to thank them for this award, and I'll be looking very forward to going on this adventure and trip. Thank you.
Thank you, Scholar Athletes. Thank you, Association for Teenage Diplomats. We're going to take a 3.5 minute break, and then the board meeting is going to start. Thank you. is Miss is Letitia Robinson here? Letitia Robinson. Miss Robinson is from the Rise Up anti-violence poster contest that we have every year, as you know. Those contests are usually judged downstairs for students putting out posters that are against violence. So I'm going to call Miss Robinson, who probably will call up the winners of the poster contest. Looks like she's getting some folks. And then we'll go into the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of. Ms. Robinson. And Reverend Simmons is here also.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We'd like to acknowledge the board and thank you for your invitation and allowing us this space and time for partnering with us these last 4 years, especially to Mr. Malik Evans and Ms. Cynthia Elliott for your continued support. I wanted to tell you briefly about Rise Up Rochester. A brief history is that in response to Rochester, New York's 50-plus homicides in each of the years 2004 and 2007, on January 5th, 2008, Baber African Methodist Episcopal Church launched a countrywide anti-snitching billboard campaign that some of you may remember called You Bet I Told. In December of 2009, that campaign merged with Baber Center for Social Change and Economic Development, and it also embraced another local nonprofit group that was committed to helping for the victims' rights in homicide and promote violent awareness in our community. These organizations then merged to form Rise Up Rochester. One of the programs that we have preventative programs, we have support group who meets to talk to the survivors, the families of those who have been murdered in our community. And one of the programs that were born out of this effort is the Stop the Violence poster and billboard contest. We partner with Rochester City School District, and we also have Lamar Advertising that has helped us to continue in this effort to allow students to, we actually go into the classroom. We have a speakers bureau where we go into the classroom. We're also looking for volunteers and people to go in and talk to the students now about bullying and nonviolence and about a subject that really touches everyone at any aspect of life. We were very surprised when we went into the classrooms and had young children who were able to verbalize actual events and witness violence in their own communities. So it gave us a space and time to be able to talk to them and be able to give them a voice, to be able to use their talents, arts, and gifts so that their posters then can become a billboard. And I'm a Rochester native, and I'll tell you this, that I never ever dreamed that anything that I ever have done could have been seen on a billboard and witnessed by 300,000 Rochesterians. So we are very proud and happy that we're able to be used in this way to talk to young people about violence and homicide and how it affects them in their community and allow their message to be broadcast to change lives. We have 6 winners out of the hundreds that we received. We also want to thank Dr. Harloff for all of her help. She's been wonderful. Can we give her a hand? We could not have done this without her hard work and diligence and getting all the information out to the teachers and students and organizing all of that. So we thank her for her help. The first student that we're going to call, we have 3 from elementary and 3 from secondary, and then we couldn't stop there. There were some phenomenal work that we saw, so we do have also honorable mention, so we do have award and gifts for those persons. The first that we would like to call is 3rd place, elementary, and we met her with her parents. They're very proud of her, Valerie Sanchez. I apologize. Valerie Val. Let's give it up for her again. Sena, I apologize. Sawnay, help me with the last name, please, I'm sorry. Sawnay. Second place winner. Our first place winner for elementary, who had the most number of votes by our prestigious judges, is Lyndon Lewinstein Nee. Do you want to show your poster? She actually has her poster here.
Excellent.
His poster was one of the favorites from even our Lamar advertising person that we have. Thank you so much. Sawnay. Lyndon, sorry. Okay, now we go to secondary. Our honorable mention is Emmett Lewis McKenzie. Again, this is one of ours that after 3, we just had to acknowledge his good and exceptional work. Thank you so much. And our first place, okay, we're gonna go back to elementary. This is honorable mention, Xavier Rogers. Again, this is one of our other ones who we just had to acknowledge his hard work. And when you guys see this poster, we know that it's gonna still be hung somewhere and minister to someone about, give that message. This was one of Reverend Simpson's favorites. She's the head of clergy response. This is her favorite one. She loved it, and it says, "Talk to your neighbors, it will keep you safe." That's a wonderful message. Good job. Good job. We're going back to secondary. Our first place winner for secondary is Remington Hogan. Okay. On behalf of Reverend James Simmons, our chairman of our board, and Reverend Simpson, we just want to thank you all of the parents who have done a wonderful job with your children and inspiring them to use their creative gifts to give a message. We also want to especially thank our teachers for the wonderful job that they've done with the students when we went into the classroom. We just were in awe. And Reverend Simpson she volunteered to go back to number 28 school for the move-up ceremony and even adopted one of the classrooms. So we just want to give all the teachers a hand for their excellent work and the staff here at Rochester City School District for partnering with us for 4 years to change our kids' lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Simmons, Reverend Simpson, and Ms. Robinson. for continuing with this great program. I think it is absolutely critical that we start at a young age to ensure that our young people understand that there are alternative ways to dealing with violence. We're going to start with the act of reverence and pledge allegiance to the flag, and the pledge allegiance to the flag will be led by Commissioner Campos.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have minutes from the May 23rd business meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you. We've done our recognition. We have two speakers. Our first speaker is Carrie Coleman. Is Carrie Coleman here? Carrie Coleman? No. Stefan Cohen? Mr. Cohen here? Going once, going twice, Mr. Cohen? All right, we only have two speakers, and that dispenses with our speakers tonight. They must have known that today's Game 7 of the NBA Finals, so.
Yes, Mr. President.
That's just a little hint from our board members. Mr. Superintendent, do you have a brief report for us?
Yes, very good. Well,
These men and this basketball.
I want to say thank you to the families and teachers and to the board and every one of the 5,000 plus people that work in the district for the great work that they are doing during this time of the year. It's a joy to visit our school and see so many celebrations. I just came out of school number 4, and the parking lot was packed, and with children that are graduating from 8th grade. So I'm asking every parent, and I want them to hear me, and they will get this message many times, to please pledge to themselves to make sure that their children graduate from high school, because we know the consequences of graduate or not graduating for high school is enormous for our children's lives and also for the well-being of this community. And I was very pleased everyone in school number 4 understood the significance of making sure that every child graduate from high school in the city of Rochester, but that the Rochester City School District cannot do it alone. It takes family work, it takes the community, it takes the district, it takes all of us to make sure that every child is successful. So, Mr. President, I will give you a brief update around the report that you've seen it. This information is familiar to each one of you. The good news is the Rochester City School District, even though this year the class that graduated in 2012 was facing some significant challenge, given that for the first time in the history of New York State, students in the general population couldn't graduate unless they got a Regent diploma. And as you can see here, Rochester, in our 4-year graduation rate, which include August, was 48%. And Mr. President, you always have said that what matters most is that our children graduate. And this is an important point, because what we do want and want to continue to send the message to every child, every youngster, every family, to make sure that they don't give up and not to confuse the difference of graduating in June and August. I think that we are very clear. However, that number is too low. How could I face the families, the 52% of the families in this community that doesn't see their children graduate? So, as I said before, it's not about the number. This number are too low, unacceptable. But credit goes to the district and the family of the 48% that graduated, and the tremendous effort that was put forward on their part, and the fact that this 48% was facing significant challenge, as I mentioned earlier. If you look into our next slide here, this is a breakdown by all students in the district, and then by African American, Hispanic, and Caucasian. So as you can see, the African American student population went up again, insignificant in terms of that is the number still too low, unacceptable, and regrettable for the Hispanic population. It went up by about, as you can see in there, by about 6 points. We are looking into this, and of course there are challenges, but the challenges are not excuses for us, for the students or the family or the community. We have to do better with every one of our children. So for the white population, as you can see, there was an improvement by 1 point. Again, doesn't matter in which category you fall, it's still unacceptable. And we can and will do better if we work collectively to improve our graduation rate. As you can see, the significant challenge that we face is student with disability English language learning. This district cannot make significant improvement to the extent that it continued to graduate less than a quarter of the special ed population and approximately less than a quarter for the English language learner. So this is symbolized, the next slide, the 4, 5, and 6-year graduation rate. As you can see, this 43% doesn't include the August graduate. And as I was telling someone, it doesn't matter whether you look at the graduation rate for Rochester to be 58% in 6 years, or 54 in 5 years, or 48 including August, or 43. All those numbers are correct, but those are just technicality. But all of them are unacceptable, and we must improve our 4, 5th, and 6-year graduation rate for all our students. I thank each one of you for the hard work and your guidance, and we are making significant effort and change to make sure that the district culture is one in which we don't talk about graduation rate about our children when they are in 12th grade or a year later after they graduate, but we need to begin to talk about graduation in pre-K all the way through 12th grade. And let me just, one observation that I have, if I have my chance, I will assign graduation rate to elementary and middle and high school, because what happened in elementary and middle matter. Actually, the statistic is very clear that if we've failed to help our children to learn how to read by 3rd grade, the likelihood that they are going to graduate is significantly diminished. So it is with that sense of urgency that we want to improve, not just when the student is in 12th grade, but beginning with pre-K all the way through 12th grade. Thank you again for your support.
Thank you. We're going to move the board reports.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, we'll
I
take
know
some
you're all trying to get to the
questions.
game, but
Commissioner Elliott, questions.
yes, thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to just share with you, Mr. Superintendent, that in my day job at Baden Street, I just want to report that you have 33 University Pre-K graduates from our University Pre-K program at Baden Street that will probably come into the city school district. Maybe all of them may not enter into kindergarten, but I would imagine that a majority of our students who graduated from University Pre-K will enter into the city school district. And one of the things, we had a full house of parents and family members there. And one of the things I said to them, because I was the speaker, is what you're saying now, Mr. Superintendent, that our parents have to be involved in every grade through graduation. And I don't know if they really understand that fully, but I'm beginning to share that message. I'll share it as I speak at the graduation ceremonies Saturday and Sunday, but we've got to get that message out. And have to get the message out as to the reason why they have to be involved from preschool through graduation. And I think if this is what we were talking about in previous meetings, if we give them the information, they can make better decisions. A lot of times we just say, well, you got to be, you got to go to school, you got to be there. We don't tell them the reasons why. And I think we have to provide them with the data as to the reasons why it's so important that they are that they are connected at every grade level in their child's education. And so I want to just report that and report that that's the message that I'm giving as I speak. But I also want to talk about the graduation rate because I heard you say on television, and I may be paraphrasing here, you correct me if I'm wrong, that this is the bottom, right? This is the bottom. So from here on out, I'm expecting that these numbers are going to increase. And if you can just give Mr. Superintendent a little process of what your team is going to do, what systems that you're putting in place, what is the culture going to be in terms of addressing. My vision for our students is to exceed proficiency. So that's every student who will exceed proficiency. That means that they will get 4s, and they'll be ready for the global economy and post-secondary education. So. Because that's my vision, that's what I'm going to push. What kind of plans do you have in place over the next year to help to increase this even more?
It's an excellent question, and this is in the long run. In the short term, we are taking every measure. We began by being transparent and making sure that the data is accurate. And we removed thousands of students, like, for example, from Old City High, over 500 alone. You might have read in the paper, and again, technically correct. We started with around 1,300 kids in the book, but in actuality, about 500 plus of those kids didn't show up. It was too late, and this is the message that I'm saying tonight. You can't wait until the kids in 11th or 12th grade to begin to pay attention. That's when you need to put every effort. The family need to put effort in the front end, pre-K, well before then, the community and the district, and yes, we need to communicate that message and be proactive rather than reactive. So I also have said that the Rochester City School District cannot and will not improve to the extent that you continue to provide the least amount of instructional time, the least amount of support, the least amount of opportunity in extracurricular activity, sport, art, music, rigorous curriculum, as we had done in the past, and expect results. So we are working very hard. Next year, over 5,000 students are going to get the support, socio-emotional, and academic support that they need to succeed. It is not about a plan. It's about what each one of us in the district, in the community, do each day, each hour. In the morning, in the afternoon, at night, it matters. And this is not, Rochester could be, in my view, way ahead if we realize that that is a prerequisite. Learning is a function of time, effort, and support. And if we do all three, our children are brilliant, smart as any other group of children in Monroe County, in the state of New York, in the nation, or in the world. However, we would be kidding ourselves if we would think that we can do it without the time, the support, and the effort, not just in the part of the students, but in the part of each adult in their lives.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go to the student rep report because I know you have to, are you all done with finals yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can stay out late tonight, so.
Yeah.
We'll start with, you have a report for us?
Yes, if you guys could join me down by the podium, please.
Okay.
And if Tiara and Maria could as well.
So every year, Student Leadership Congress recognizes its seniors. And this year, we have two. Tiara, who has been in SLC for 1 year. She came from Mercy to Wilson during her senior year, or at the beginning of it. And she has volunteered at many Student Leadership Congress and district events and has been a huge support and key figure in our group this year. And we would like to thank her. And both girls have gone through challenges in their life like we all have and still dedicated themselves and their time to representing the Rochester City School District and Student Leadership Congress, and we would like to thank them for that. So Tiara, here on behalf of Student Leadership Congress and the Rochester City School District, here are some gifts. One of them is a gift card to Barnes & Nobles to contribute towards books. So if you'd like to shake the board members' hands. And then we also have Maria, who's been a part of SLC for 2 years. She goes to School of the Arts. And Maria has dedicated a lot of her time and effort and energy and supported Student Leadership Congress and district efforts and endeavors throughout the past 2 years. And both of them are good friends of mine. And she also went to New York City with us and other students. And I would like to thank her for that and just give her a gift as well. Now, if you guys would like to say a quick word and also say what colleges you're going to, that would be good. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for everything, Sophie. I really do appreciate it. It's been a long 4 years. I'm going off to SUNY IT in the fall and then hopefully transferring to Cornell in the spring or beginning of my sophomore year to study psychology and then off to med school to become a psychiatrist.
I'd just like to say thank you for actually letting me speak here today. It's been a pleasure being a part of Student Leadership Congress. I've grown so much because of the people I've gotten to know and just all the students here that we have in the district that not a lot of people pay attention to because so much is focused on the negative things. But there's honestly, truly out there a good group of kids who are willing to dedicate their time, their thoughts, their opinions, and just their selflessness to this community and everything it has to offer. And I've made the greatest friend ever. And this is definitely an experience that I'm never going to forget. And every time I'm back in Rochester from Alfred University, I'm going to come back and give it back as much as I can. So thank you for everything.
Now if the rest of Student Leadership Congress who's here could just come up and I'll give the rest of my report. Carly, Ayan, all you guys. So this Sunday at 4 in the morning, 12 Rochester City School District students who are also a part of Student Leadership Congress will be going to Washington, D.C., meeting at the airport at 4 a.m. with Andrew Gardner, who is a RCSD student, teacher, and he's volunteered a lot of his time, and he's supported us in our fundraising endeavors and organizing everything, and he's been going on this trip. This will be his 3rd year, and this year he's also arranged to get us t-shirts and make sure that all of us can kind of look like a unified group and stand out as RCSD students with our logo on it. So he wasn't able to make it tonight, but if we could just give him a round of applause. I would like to thank the board and district staff for all their support and wish you all a good summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gallivan, for all of your hard work. Are you a senior next year? Well, we look forward to your senior year. We wish you the best of luck. Thank you, Student Leadership Congress, for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have some special guests in the audience. They're sitting in the front row. You can tell they don't come to school board meetings much because they're crazy. They're sitting in the front row. Glenn Sarsoletti from the University of Rochester and some of the urban fellows are here. And one of their sections is on urban education, so they're here getting a firsthand view of a board meeting. They told me that they have to leave by 8:45 to catch the game, so we want to make sure that we move our meeting quickly. Why don't you guys stand up so we can just welcome you to our board meeting. Urban fellows, urban fellows. Thank you very much for coming. And
Say something.
yes, Commissioner Elliott.
This is just so important to me, those who want to come back and work in an urban environment. And so I'm just really excited for those of you who are willing to come and do this work. This is not easy work, it's difficult work, but we need you, and so we thank you so very much. I just had to say that because it's just so important to my heart. So thank you so very much for doing this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell and the Finance Committee, you got a report?
I do, thank you. Finance Committee met last Thursday, June 13th, considering resolutions 728 through 750. We did recommend the May financial reports, and at this time I would move that the full board accept them.
There's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Powell to accept the May financial reports, which members received in their packet. Is there a second? Second. It's been seconded by Commissioner White. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor of the monthly financial reports, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you. Commissioner Powell.
Thank you. It's the standard fare. Resolutions 728 through 733 were procurement related, mostly renewing contracts. 734 through 747 were facilities. Resolution 748 was an IM&T resolution, and then three additional resolutions, including a lease contract for space behind the art gallery for School of the Arts gym use. In addition to the resolutions, which all passed the Finance Committee and are recommended to the full board, we also received a late resolution regarding Rochester Public Library funding for 11 students as literacy aides through the summer. And we also recommended that to the full board. They basically would serve as ambassadors to the public library system and try to encourage youngsters to come to the library and maintain their reading habit through the summer. The Finance Committee also considered a resolution that Commissioner Adams brought to this body some 3 months ago. It was tabled 2 months in a row, and in the absence of any compelling case against it, the Finance Committee did support bringing this resolution to the full board. I'm going to skip past the whereases and just read the resolves. That any agreement which commits Rochester, the district, resources of any kind to charter school operators or their agents, except for statutory requirements, will require approval of the full Rochester City School Board of Education. So it's simply ensuring that the Board of Education is part of the decision-making process when it comes to discussion of charter schools. So that is, I don't know what resolution number it is.
It's the last one in the packet.
It's in the packet. So
Last one.
our next Finance Committee meeting will be held Thursday, July 18th, immediately following the Policy Committee meeting, and that concludes my board report.
Thank you. Commissioner.
I do.
Go ahead.
I apologize. Just so that you know, there was a New York State School Board Association Board of Directors meeting earlier this month. I did attend. It was mostly NYSBA business, but we had some interesting discussions about APPR, In Bloom, Interestingly, New York State is one of only 2 out of the 50 states that has chosen at the state level to share all its information with the In Bloom database. And there are movements afoot through the legislature to reverse that process, whether it happens this year or not, because at this stage it was made on the authority of the Commissioner of Education, not through state mandate of any kind. So just an interesting factoid.
Thank you. Commissioner Elliott and CIGR Committee.
Yes, Mr. President, the Community and Intergovernmental Relations Committee met on Tuesday, June 11th. The committee further discussed the draft 2013 legislative agenda, and we're continuing to refine it with the hopes to present it as a draft agenda to the board for the approval at the July business meeting. Also, with regards to the 2013 legislative agenda, the committee discussed possible dates to host the legislative breakfast in October. Representatives from the federal, state, and city governments will be invited to attend. The administration presented an update on the transportation legislation in regards to the legislation being cost neutral between the state and the Rochester City School District by reducing the number of routes. The committee invited the staff from the Office of Parent Engagement to discuss its plans for hosting a forum for parents that includes providing information on the Common Core standards. The committee decided that because the Office of Parent Engagement has already begun planning for the event, the CIGR committee will collaborate with them on this effort instead of moving forward with its own plans to host a forum as previously discussed. The next CIGR committee meeting will be held on Tuesday, July 16th, but I want to, point of personal privilege, if I may, I wanted to, in light of, all the work that we do, I just want to make sure it's on the record of what I've been involved with for the month. Commissioner Adams and I attended the City Council meeting for the approval of the district's budget. I also attended the School 58 Expeditionary Learning exhibits for primary and secondary students. I visited School 3. I also had a visit with the principal from World of Inquiry. I will be bringing greetings from the board at July and School Without Walls graduation ceremonies. And with regard to our food service initiative, I will be visiting the Food Link facility on Mount Reed Boulevard next week. And just one last thing, I'd just like to acknowledge an African-American holiday, Juneteenth, which was yesterday, June 19th. Juneteenth is the holiday in which the announcement for the Emancipation Proclamation finally reached the last state, June 19th, 1866 in Texas. And so I want to recognize that there are holidays, there are those celebrations that go on around the country now. And Juneteenth is becoming as big as Kwanzaa, so I wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Elliott. Commissioner White and the ESA Committee.
Yes, Mr. President, we met on Monday, June the 10th, to receive a presentation from representatives of a company called Monarch's Teaching Technologies. Their presentation focused on their Visual software program, which is a web-based program that includes an online library or interactive lessons created specifically for students with special needs. This particular program creates cooperative social networks at home and at school. And one need only look at page 4 of the superintendent's PowerPoint presentation to understand why this district might need the support of such technology, whether it's Monarch or not. As the superintendent has indicated earlier today, less than 4%, less than a quarter of our special ed population graduate on time. Less than a quarter of our special ed population graduates on time. And as the superintendent indicated earlier today, that of course impacts our graduation rate. So if we want to, pardon the expression, get the most bang for the buck and investing our dollars, it would be in supporting adequately from a technological point of view and a support point of view our special ed populations, which this district has an abysmal history of doing. So I'm glad to see the administration has highlighted the challenges that lie ahead for this particular population. And Monarch Technology is one, I'm sure, of many tools available to this district to use. And the Excellent Student Achievement Committee I think was wise to put this on the agenda so that we pay attention to this particular portion of our population, which by law, morally and spiritually, we ought to direct more of our resources towards them. The committee also received an update on All City High School. This presentation was long overdue, but it was worth the wait. The administration, including Beverly Burrell Moore, presented specific data with respect to All City High enrollment by grade and attendance. This was particularly helpful because this information was presented by cohort. The presentation also included a credit accrual and Regents results, GPA and student enrollment by cohort. The January 2013 Regents data was also presented, and I would be remiss if I, of course, didn't mention Anita Murphy, who, between the two of them, and I've said this before to my colleagues, they are a dynamic duo. I thought I saw Anita there. She's still, I don't see Beverly here. Is Beverly? Oh, which is where, yeah. She's at All City High, how appropriate. But they've really done a tremendous job, and I do need to say the superintendent, although I do complain quite a bit, I do, he said, no. I do balance it. I hope he would agree and his staff would agree with compliments when they are due. And I want to say, as my colleagues know, since I've been on this board, I have been asking various administrations, I think 4 of them altogether, to present our plan for managing, monitoring, and motivating our students across that proverbial finish line. And I want to thank the administration for methodically and purposefully putting together the data that lets us know where our kids are at, because you cannot get anybody across the finish line unless you know where exactly on the track they are. So this is a step forward in a major way, and I do want to, again, put my thanks on the record to Dr. Vargas and his very, very able team. The committee will be receiving a presentation regarding the district's comprehensive plans for meeting students' social, emotional, and behavioral support at the next committee meeting. And I'd like to extend an invitation to all of my colleagues to attend that meeting. Next month's Excellent Student Achievement Committee meeting will be Monday, July the 15th, 2013 at 6 p.m. Point of personal privilege, Jose, before you grab that mic. I just want to tell my colleagues that if you go to www.50thanniversarymarchonwashington.com, you will see an effort being organized by Rochester folks to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, which is August the 28th, 2013. There you will see a conference that, again, was organized by Rochesterians at historic Howard University, discussing where we're at and where we've been in terms of civil rights. You will also see an application for the Fannie Lou Hamer Award, where you can nominate someone from your community who has contributed mightily to the cause of civil rights. And of course, you can see details regarding the commemorative march, which will begin at my alma mater, Georgetown Law School. Finally, you will see, and we're really excited about this, and this is something I think for everybody, from Rochester to across the country to consider. We have an initiative called 63 Minutes of Peace. At 3 o'clock, Mr. President, on August the 28th, 1963, Martin Luther King began to deliver his I Have a Dream speech. That was at 3 o'clock on August the 28th, 1963. As part of this effort to commemorate the 50th anniversary, again, organized here from Rochester, New York, we are beginning a national campaign for 63 Minutes of Peace, beginning at 3 o'clock on August the 28th, 2013. We ask that you go to the website, again, www.50thanniversarymarchonwashington.com, to learn about details of that event. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Commissioner Cruz and the Policy Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. The report references 19 different policies that we've discussed are in the process of changing. I don't want to get into every single one of them because I don't want to get any heat for doing so. So it's no pun intended, of course. Just to highlight a couple, though, we are, as a result of conversation with Mr. Bill Benet and our esteemed counsel at Lopez, they've come together to talk about revision to the values education policy. They're continuing that conversation. We have more to report on that during our retreat for a couple seconds, but we want to take a look at the work that was done a number of years ago by a very large task force of very involved individuals, and want to take a look at revising those to bring them a little bit up to date and also do some consolidation. So we'll be talking more about that in the next couple months. We're also amending the teachers' evaluation policy. One of the things that we've come to, that's a concern, is that we have APPR, but we also have a kind of sort of orphaned policies on other evaluations of teachers, administrators, and things like that. So we're really going to consolidate them all into a policy that makes a little bit more sense and have that available. We're also we're taking a look at school-based planning teams policy. We're revising and updating that. The equivalence in education, staff, and materials in terms of discussed as part of the budget process already. Again, some of these policies are somewhat redundant because we, as a normal course of things, do get information on them, so we were taking a look at deleting a few of those. And also consolidating a number of these kinds of small policies together. There's a particular group that involves health education, AIDS instruction, family life, physical education, and wellness, and we're looking at how we consolidate those. So there's a number of those different kinds of policies that we're taking a look at. And we also presented last month, and for discussion purposes this month, a number of different policies. I won't go into all of them specifically, but they're in their packet. But some of them have to do with the revision of the safety schools policy, and that was an issue. We had a number of community folks that came to our committee meeting to talk about how do we let parents and community know when there is an issue with a teacher or something like that. And we've put some additional language. Again, Mr. Lopez was very helpful in crafting some language for that. That's going to be helpful. And also revision of code of conduct. One of the things that we're clarifying in the code of conduct is that the same minimum standards of behavior applied to board members as district and school staff and students in terms of our conduct here, as well as our conduct outside in the community. So there's a number of those, and we're also taking a look at some proposals next month and the month after regarding constitutionality of protected prayer in schools and public use of school facilities and those kinds of things. And again, that is all in the report, written report, but our policy committee has been quite busy. Our next meeting is going to be scheduled for July 18th. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And thank you for all the work on the policy committee. Commissioner Campos, Board Governance.
We discussed, the governance committee met on June 13th. We discussed a few things, one being the retreat that's coming up June 25th. So please make sure that we have that on our calendars. It's 3 till 7. And as well as the superintendent evaluation and the quarterly superintendent evaluations. Just as a reminder that we do have the first one with Superintendent Vargas on August 29th. One of the things that we had asked that Dr. Vargas present is information to support the objectives, metrics, and targets presented in the goals and objectives that he outlined for us that was accepted by the board. But as well as we reviewed the draft calendar for 2013 and 14 of board business and committee meetings, and we're forwarding, easy for me to say, it's all pregnancy brain, I'm gonna blame it on. That was supposed to be a joke.
Selling tones.
Man, what a tough group today. Oh my gosh, man.
They want to go see the game.
It's the game, I know. They're like, come on, let's go. And at this time, I'd like to put a motion to accept the board calendar.
Motion on the floor by Commissioner Campos to accept the board calendar, seconded by Commissioner Elliott. All in favor? Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you.
Great, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Commissioner Adams and audit.
The audit committee was not scheduled to and did not meet in the month of June. The next scheduled meeting is July 23rd. I will note that our Auditor General is busy at work developing the risk assessment model and is seeking broad input and is being very systematic as always about that process, and her work is always appreciated.
Thank you. And I would urge board members that if you are contacted by the Auditor General to meet to discuss the risk assessment, please make every effort to try to get that on your calendar. A brief report for me. First off, is Miss Ann Brown Scott here? Is she here? Miss Brown, is she here in the audience? Can she stand up, please? I just want to if you should stand, please stand as, I mean, my mother always told me, God bless her soul, that you have to recognize people and give them their flowers while they still can smell them. Now, I don't have any flowers for you, but I did just want to recognize Mrs. Brown Scott's career in education spans almost 3 decades, and she's going to be retiring from the Rochester City School District. She began her career in her home state of South Carolina as a teacher, then became director of the district's arts program and gifted and talented program. And I understand she's quite an accomplished musician herself. So we'll be bringing her back, hopefully, to lead that choir, Dr. Vargas. Her success led to her appointment by the governor to the South Carolina State Art Commission. A lot of people didn't know that. Mrs. Brown Scott came to Rochester in 1993. She taught for 4 years at Franklin High School and Dr. Freddie Thomas High School. She has held administrative positions at Franklin, Nathaniel Rochester Community School, and in 2005, she was named principal at school number 19. As principal at school number 19, Ms. Brown Scott, and the staff worked together to ensure that their students reached the highest level on the New York State assessments and became well-rounded students that utilize their talents in the community. Under her leadership, and I remember this, over 95% of their students met the New York State standards in math, science, and social studies. And the school was awarded the National Urban Excellence Award for 2010 for being one of the top 13 urban school districts in the nation. And I remember when she was principal of that school, and I don't know if it was Commissioner White or somebody said, wait a minute, what are we doing? We bring in our great principal, we're taking her out of that school to bring her down here? But it was a great decision. Ann is going to be with us through the end of this month, but she is a tremendous asset to this district. We thank her for her commitment to the Rochester community and also for just her down-home, southern charm that many people lack. And I just want to give Ms. Brown Scott a standing ovation for all of her years of service in the district. And there is, and I understand there is a retirement party in which the Cupid Shuffle will be done. I have been practicing my moves, and I look forward to, we're not saying goodbye, we're saying congratulations, because we're still going to be, the superintendent has made it clear that he's going to try to still get you to come back just a little bit. To use your, that's right. That's right, to use your skills. But I just want to thank you for your service to the district. Also, I would like to recognize, is Tim Maines here? Tim Maines here? He's not here. All right, well, he's already gone. But I want to recognize Tim Maines. We will be accepting his resignation by resolution number 707. Tim joined the city school district in 2002 as a principal of school number 50, where he served 9 years before being appointed principal on assignment to director of internal operations in 2012. He's going to be with us through July, but as you know, Tim has been named superintendent of the Jamestown Public School District and will be assuming that on August 1st. So I want to thank Tim for his work and give him a round of applause. On the dais, you have a list of graduations. I just love the month of June because we celebrate. I mean, this board meeting was all celebrations, and then it culminates with these graduations that board members are the liaisons to that they'll be speaking with. So tomorrow's Monroe's graduation at 6 p.m. at Bethel. Northeast College Prep is also tomorrow at 5 at Nazareth. Northwest College Prep is 7:30 at Nazareth. School of the Arts is tomorrow at the auditorium at 7. Charlotte's is at Hochstein on Saturday at 1. East High School is at East High School at 10 a.m. Edison's is also Saturday at 4. Wilson's is on Saturday at 10. And School Without Walls is on Sunday at 2 o'clock. You know, we hear so much about all the challenges that we have in our district, but sometimes it's okay just to put the challenges aside and recognize the hard work and commitment and dedication that our kids put in throughout the 4 or 5 years that they stuck it out in the Rochester City School District. And that's what these next couple of days are about, celebrating their accomplishments and really encouraging them as they go on to be future leaders in our community. So I want to congratulate all of our graduates, and I want to thank the superintendent and his staff for all of the end of the year schoolwork, work that takes place to get things started. Also on resolution, we have a lot of resolutions that relate to our summer programs that are going to be going on this year. So a thick packet there, and we're going to approve some resolutions tonight that are
President?
absolutely critical to doing those things. Yes, Commissioner Elliott.
Just wanted to remind you to let people know that our graduations will be televised, and they can
Absolutely.
be able to see them throughout the summer or whenever. So I just wanted to make sure that.
That's right. Thank you, Commissioner Elliott, for mentioning that. Everyone over the summer will have the opportunity to watch all of our graduations on cable access. Commissioner Elliott had a great idea to televise these things, so that way a kid maybe sitting at home on a Saturday night might get the idea, hey, there's one of my friends that graduated. Maybe I too can do that. So every single one of our graduations will be televised on cable access this year. So we're going to move on to our resolutions. We have several resolutions. Our first set of resolutions are related to human capital initiatives, AKA human resources. Those are resolutions 697 through 718, and 719 through 727 are additional pay resolutions. We'll start with resolutions 697 through 718. Anything around these resolutions need to be germane to the topic. And if anyone has any specific questions about specific individuals, we can take them in executive session. We do have a very, very brief executive session, Mr. Lopez, after the meeting, very brief executive session related to 3028 charges. But I would like to start with the motion to approve resolutions 697 through 718.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Elliott, seconded by Commissioner White. General questions around 697 through 618.
President Evans.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner Elliott.
Resolution 701, what is an executive turnaround principle?
The second turnaround principle is one of which coming and take a school that is in the priority list and has the skill and expertise to lift that school to good standing. And this is something that the federal government normally support. So this position will be supported through a special grant through the federal government.
How many executive turnaround principles do we have in the district currently?
We don't have one.
The first one?
Yes. This if you approve it.
Yeah, with what's the projection of these number of executive turnaround principles for the district?
It's grant specific based upon the school improvement grants that are proposed. So
should just give you a mic, a portable mic.
Right now, excuse me for being a little slow. Right now, we're projecting one in this was very specific to a community schools grant. That's SIG funding. We hope that other community schools money will open up from New York State as promised, and we'll consider those then.
All right, thank you. And President Evans, Resolution 712 and 713, if we are abolishing those positions, and there are a number of those positions that it appears that we are abolishing, what impact does those reductions have on the bottom line of our budget? So we have a budget now of $734 million. So what's the bottom line if we are abolishing these positions?
Is Dr. Ansborough here?
Well, this is a response to our budget.
Exactly.
Is this response to the budget?
Some more, yeah.
Mr. President, I do have a question regarding 712 and 13, but
Yep.
it is individual specific, so I need to ask that we
Can you ask
sever these and take it up in executive section.
Okay, 712 and 713, is related to specific individual?
Yes.
All right, then 712 and 713 we'll take up in executive session at the end of the meeting.
And then 715, this one for a person who is, we're asked to approve now. The date is June 22nd, and we've asked to approve it for May 13, 2013 through June 22nd, 2013, or should that be 2014?
2013. This
So
would be
why are
a substitute teaching position that the teacher went out on May 13th, and this is till the end of the school year.
Okay, which is June 22nd. I guess my point is.
It missed
is
the
that
May
I-
meeting. It must have missed the May meeting
Yeah, why didn't we approve this in May?
at the May 23rd meeting.
Well, why didn't we approve it in April?
Maybe the
I
person
can
wasn't-
I can get that information for you. I will ask my staff.
Thank you. So anything else on resolution 712 and 713? There's the questions about specific individuals, so we'll take those in executive session. So 697 through 718. We're going to vote on 697 through 718, and our parent rep is here, and I'm going to let her do her report after we vote on this first batch of Human Capital Initiative resolutions.
President Evans, I have questions on 701.
701, all right, your
Yes.
questions?
I think I have 2 or 3 questions. The first one is regarding the position, School Coordinator of Health, Physical Education, and Athletics. Is that, was that formerly a grant-funded position that we're now transferring into a permanent?
No, that's a position that we would, an athletic director position is how we would normally call it. That grant-funded position that you're referring to has ended, but there was an addition of athletic director, FTE, in the
Okay,
budget.
so this is
It's a completely different position.
reflecting the expansion of sports and, okay.
Yep.
Thank you. And then I have questions about the Director of Social Studies and Executive Director of Social Studies, but it's a little bit, it's specific and also more general. My understanding is that the core academic subjects have in the past had either a director or an executive director, but not both. And we're moving into a situation of having both director and executive director for all of those core areas. Is that correct?
I'll let Bev answer that question.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi.
To answer your question, I'd like to report that as part of the restructure of our T&L department and aligning our chiefs with elementary and secondary, we wanted to make sure that all cores had a director or an executive director. So the executive director of social studies will supervise and lead the curriculum work, and the director will also work in that capacity, but the executive director will be responsible. The executive director will be more aligned with the secondary schools where we have the Regents exams, the high-stakes testing, and the director of social studies will work with the executive director, but work with integrating social studies and ELA in the elementary schools as it's required by the Common Core.
That actually is part of my question, is that the way the organizational chart is currently written, and I realize it may be being modified. Okay, so it's not the shuffle of executive, because right now the way it's written is there's a secondary chief, and under that chief, there are executive directors for certain academics, and then directors for certain academics,
Right.
and then the same scenario under the elementary chief.
Right.
And so it doesn't look like there are lines of communication between executive director and director.
There is, we
for
should
each
show a
subject
dotted
area.
line,
Okay.
but absolutely there is. The executive directors are placed in that organizational chart to emphasize the high-stakes testing and regents. For ELA and for math, we know that foundational skills are in the elementary, especially in ELA.
So the
that's why
choice of placement of an executive director is methodical based
yes.
on where the major emphasis is needed?
correct, yes.
Whether it's secondary. Okay, thank you, that's really
Thank you.
helpful. I do have some specific questions on, that relate to an individual on this resolution as well. So I'd like to make a motion to split.
No need for motion. We'll just do 701, 712, and
Well,
713.
Actually, what I would like to do, though, if possible, if you'd be willing, would be to separate the first two, the Director of Social Studies and Executive Director of Social Studies, from the other two, so that I don't hold up the affirmative vote or the vote for the other two people. Would that be agreeable? And
I mean, so are you not going to vote for the other two?
I just have a couple of brief questions
All
that
right,
involve an
so
individual.
701, so the first two, you have questions related to specific individuals?
Correct.
So, all right, so we'll call 701, the first two names of 701A, and then the second two names of 701B. So in executive session, we'll talk about 712 and 713 and 701A. So we will vote on 697, unless there's any objections, we will vote on 697 through 718, with the exception of 701A and 712 through 713.
701B. Oh,
Okay.
no, you had it right. Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah, never mind, you did it right.
All right. So everybody clear with that? All right.
Thank you, President
Anything else
Evans.
on the personnel resolutions, human capital initiatives? All right, I'll entertain a motion for resolutions 697 through 718, with the exception of 701A and 712 through 713.
So moved.
It's been, oh, no, it's, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
I'm voting no on 701, I don't know A or B, because there was, information was not clear in terms of which one was A and which one was B.
A are the first two names.
We're voting on this.
704, 705, 709, 715. And that's another thing I think that the Board Governance Committee is going to have to clearly, we're going to have to take up the way in which these resolutions are put together, because there are some that I want to vote on. For example, on 715, I think it was, but I just decided to vote no on the entire packet. There was some that I do want to vote yes for. So somehow we're going to have to, they can't be categorized like this, because it doesn't give us the opportunity to really vote on each one individually. And really, that's what we should be doing, voting on each one individually, because if we don't, we're going to have this kind of scenario going on every month, whereas, you know, we're going to split it up. And so
Well,
I think we have to look at
we can
how
do
do we
that.
this.
We can do that, but you just have to remember that then the package is 116 pages. It'll be 300.
I don't care.
So
I don't care. But I think it really doesn't show exactly what this board wants to vote on. And I'm not all that concerned about how easy or quick it is. I think we need, as board members, need to make sure that we're doing, making the right decision for each employee or each category, however it is, but we need to do it in a way in which that we can have a true vote. So,
Ms. Lucas from the PAC is here for her parent report. We'll take a pause. Ms. Lucas, if you can just come up, and then Mr. Superintendent.
Yep, I would like to recognize my understanding that the vote was passed for Ralph Special.
Yeah.
Ralph, congratulations, and I would like for you to stand, please. And I'd like to say a few words. I publicly want to thank you for taking on the challenge. You have been a wonderful educator and continue to be at your long retirement. For you to decide to come back and help us is much appreciated. I think that the task that you're about to take at School 17 is not an easy task. The community is counting on you. We are counting on you, and we are certain that you won't let us down. The school needs to go back to the type of school that it used to be, that was a center of the community. It was a center for our family and children, and I can't thank you enough. And I will have to apologize to your wife next time that I see you, because I know I did try to bring you back, working harder than, you know, a lot of things that I done in my life were much easier than to bring you back. But let me just say, easier, because I asked you about a year or a year and a half or 2 years ago, come back and help me. And you say, come back and help you. But this is a moment, and I appreciate that you are taking on this task to guide that school and ensure that the entire Rochester community will thank you for your services.
Thank you, Dr. Breakfast, and thank you, members of the board. I'm honored, energized, and just as committed and with a sense of urgency as I always have. And I am thankful for the opportunity to serve again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spezio. Ms. Lucas.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. The Parent Advisory Council held its business meeting on June 10th. Anita Murphy and the superintendent were present. We discussed, for the first half of that meeting, we discussed the closing of school number 44 We were told that it was due to performance and lack of green space. We addressed many of the concerns that parents at school number 44 had regarding the lack of information that they were given about the closing, lack of communication, and the reasons that the school was closing. We were told that the superintendent and Anita were going to be meeting with the school-based planning team soon thereafter. We understand the need to right-size the district and improve our facilities. We just feel that conversations are still not taking place appropriately and with the right parties, and decisions are being made with the absence of the parent voice. Procedures of consulting with parents and community must happen prior to making these major decisions we'd like to see, and definitely before it's reported in the news. Not far after having this conversation about School 44, we heard on the news that School Without Walls commencement was closing, and again, had comments from parents that they were not informed and are very angry about that as well. So we'd like to see communications improved. Also with the superintendent, we spoke about his controversial stance on amusement parks, celebrations for children at amusement parks during instructional time. As you're aware, many parents, children, and teachers were angered by that decision. The superintendent admitted that the communication was poor and not made clear across the district. While the intentions are understood, again, the communication was lacking, and this is another example for the imperative that the district has to improve its communications with administration, teachers, families, and the community. We also reviewed the accomplishments of the Parent Advisory Council for the year, and I'd just like to highlight some of those. Working on school-based planning teams was one of the main things that we did. With support of the Office of OPE, we were able to monitor and track parent participation on these school-based planning teams. After more research, we realized that in the fall of 2012, only 6 schools were in compliance with school-based planning teams. By the end of May, it was reported to us that 100% of schools had reported compliance. So that is huge, and we're very proud of that success. In addition, we worked with OPE to make sure that there were active parent groups, PTA, PTOs, in all schools. We monitored and tracked this. At the start of the school year, 23 elementary schools and 14 secondary schools did not have parent groups. By the end of May, there was only 1 school remaining without an active parent group. The Title I annual parent event that was held in May, with assistance from parents and a lot of input, we had over 2,200 people that attended that event. That was up from about 100 that attended the year before. So again, showing when parents are involved and working with the district, we can have successes. We held information meetings, 6 information meetings over the year, and discussed topics from the master schedule, transportation, the Common Core, hybrid kitchen, elementary school report cards, Title I funding, facilities modernization, the SIG grants, the parent report card, extended day, Boy Scouts, and Board Watch. So these were some of the topics that were covered in our informational meetings that were important to parents, and we were able to get them information about. After meeting with Commissioner White and discussing the parent report card, we took that up ourselves to have a parent survey done. We worked with OPE, and that parent survey went out in May. We should have the report on that posted by the end of this month. In addition, we worked with the administration to clarify and communicate changes to the arts and music instruction driven by the master schedule. We also worked on food to gain a better understanding and to advocate for the hybrid kitchen model. So those are just some of our highlights for the year. PAC was very active, working with parents, getting information from them, and relaying that to the district. The PAC will be holding a candidate forum for school board members in September, so there'll be more information coming about that. And we held elections for new officers, so this will be my last meeting reporting to you. Makita Salone is the new chair of PAC, and Victoria Robertson is the new vice chair. So you will see them beginning in August. The PAC will not be meeting in July. And lastly, after reporting that school-based planning teams, that we had 100% of schools in compliance, we did learn in June that there were 2 schools that only had 2 parents and not 3. So we'll be investigating that with the help of OPE to find out why there's a discrepancy in numbers and what took place there. Lastly, not in the report, but I just wanted to thank Commissioner Elliott for her comments early on about making sure that parents know about being engaged each year. That's something that we have definitely been talking about from the beginning. And what I want to say is that we need the district to help with this. I think it's incumbent on the district to, one, remove some of the barriers that prohibit parents from being involved. Also to ensure that we have communications with parents so that they know what's going on, and that the district is held accountable for ensuring effective parent engagement. One of the policies that we'd like to see Commissioner Cruz look at is the district's policy on parent engagement as well. We feel that that needs to be updated. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Very much.
And just because you're going to make people have a heart attack, I got to correct something you said. School Without Walls, it's not School Without, it's School Without Walls Foundation.
Foundation.
And it's not closing. It was never a school. The current kids are going to be there. They're not taking any new kids in 7, and grade 8 stays and moves on to integrated arts and technology. So it's not the high school is not closing. Just so you know.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Commissioner Elliott.
Yeah, I wanted to, Candace, will you still be involved with the Office of
Yes.
Parenting, with the group? We had Willie Robinson to come before the Center of Intergovernmental Relations Committee last week. Here's what I said to Willie. The group had great numbers, but I asked Willie, but how many parents do we have in the district, right? They couldn't answer that at first. So what I'm saying is that we've got to bridge our thinking. 400 is not a good number if we've got 25,000 parents in the district. And so I want us to think in terms, I'm not saying to you, this was a conversation that we had in the committee meeting. All I want to say is that we need to expand our reach even more, even at Charlotte, good group, but we've got approximately 25,000 parents in the district, and what I said to Willie is, we've got to find strategies we can't limit our thinking to think that 1,000 or 2,000 are good numbers when we've got 25,000 in the district. And so some ways we've got to figure out how do we reach those 25,000 parents and not just 1,000 or 2,000 parents. And so there was some discussion around that. So I just wanted to put that in your thinking about how do we expand what we do in order to include the 25,000 and not be excited about when we have 400 at an event or 2,000 at an event, because we've got 25,000 that we have to make sure is informed.
Yeah, that's definitely in our thinking.
All right.
But we are happy with incremental increases, and we're going to continue to push for that.
Thank you.
Commissioner White.
Yeah, I would, Commissioner Elliott and I haven't had a vocal disagreement in a while, so maybe today is the day. I would respectfully disagree with her characterization. I think if you get 2,000 Rochester City School District parents involved in anything in one day, that is something to celebrate from the rooftops. Go ahead, applaud. That is miraculous. And it's not just miraculous because it's 2,000 parents. It's miraculous because that has not happened in this district. The last meeting that Ms. Lucas referred to, there was 100, 200 people. I went to those meetings, and the participation was abysmal. I understand there are 25,000 parents in this district, but you can't go to Brighton or Pittsford and find that kind of turnout at any event. And that's what we're always comparing ourselves to. So I think it is something to be celebrated. If we get 2,000 next year, I think that is certainly nothing to be ashamed of. That's something to celebrate. That is a wonderful thing that you all did. And we need to not be ashamed because we put in the context, we got a larger audience of parents to deal with. I don't know how else I can say it. That was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And Willie Robinson and your group and every parent and principal that turned out for that event and board members that turned out for that event. I know you were there, I could not go, but it was, everybody described it as a miraculous, wonderful event. And again, Yeah, we have 25,000 parents, but you can't find a suburban district that can pull out parents like that. So
You're missing what I'm saying.
Well, let me just finish my point.
You miss what I'm saying.
Well, okay. I also wanted to point out in the broader context, some great things happened, and we should not miss that because we're so focused on what is so wrong. It's a question of the glass half empty or half full. Well, there's water to be drank here, right? There's a thirst that is being quenched by your work. The fact that we now have, we've looked at for the first time whether our parents are participating in school, but you guys are here talking about urban involvement, right? Get excited about this. For the first, we never even monitored how many parents were involved in the statutorily required, contractually required school-based planning teams. We never even monitored it as a district. Well, we got a group together, this group, PAC, they're calling themselves, and they began looking at, monitoring and managing how many parents were actually involved in their school-based planning teams. Right? It was just a policy on the books. Nobody paid any attention to it until this group. Now, I gotta say, it took a lot more than just Ms. Lucas and the people that she's mentioned. And I wanna give credit to Gladys Burgos, who took this on when it was a struggle, and some of you were not around on the board when that happened. I know Malik, Cynthia, you may remember that. Nicole Crocker, this goes way back. And if you all could understand what it took to put together this group that she's calling PAC, you wouldn't even be sitting there. Your minds would just be blown away at how difficult it was just to organize an organization that would advise the board. They call themselves PAC, Parent Advisory Council. Amazing what difficult challenges. It went through 3 superintendents, and finally, with this superintendent, we got it right. And but again, none of that would have happened without Nicole Crocker stepping in there. You all remember that, right? Nicole Crocker through Jean-Claude Bizard, Gladys Burgos. She stepped in there, tried to get that thing organized, and it started and it stopped. Remember that, guys? It was terrible. And finally, we got it right. You got it right. And because of that, we have much to celebrate today. And I want this board, I want this community to recognize this good work. This is what makes a district. They tell us statistically, the researchers at the U of R tell us, there's 2 things that make a difference in a child's education. It is teachers and parents. You cannot build that bridge to cross that achievement gap without it being anchored at one end by teachers and the other end by parents. This group has allowed us to anchor up and shore up that part of the bridge. Parents are now a part of our process. We got a lot more work to do. We got a road to travel, but now we have institutionalized our parental involvement. That puts us on the right track to get those graduation rates that this superintendent is talking about. This is good work.
Let me just, if I could just
okay, last thing on
follow,
this, Commissioner Elliott, you got the last word on this.
Parents have always been involved. I had 100 or 150 parents at my UPK graduation. So parents are always involved from that level. What I want the district to not to rest on the fact that we've had 400 or that we've got 2,000, because they're going to come to those kinds of events anyway. But what I want us to make sure that we're doing is broadening our horizon so that we do include the 25,000. Now, I'm clear that you're not going to get 25,000 at those events, but you got to put the kinds of infrastructure in place in which you're meeting 25,000. That's all I'm saying, and that perhaps I didn't clarify that, but that's what I mean by that. The same information that the people got, the 2,000 received, we've got to make sure the infrastructure's in place that the 25,000 get. That's what I'm saying, because they are parents of our children as well. So I just want the parent council, I want the Office of Parent Engagement just to broaden this thinking around how do I reach 25,000? Again, they may not all come at an event, but we've still got to make sure we get the information to every parent out there. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lucas.
And I think you're doing great work. I'm not saying you're not doing great work. I just wanted the council and all of us to be able to expand it to include every parent. Thank you.
Thank you. And will Ms. Salone be at our, Ms. Lucas, will Ms. Salone be at our July meeting or not for the summer?
Not in July.
In August, okay, thank you. Next resolutions are additional pay resolutions. A lot of these are related to summer school programming. Mr. Superintendent, I'm not sure if this is probably just as big as last year in terms of the summer programming that we're going to be having. Lots of summer school programming that we're going to be having. I'll entertain a motion for resolutions 719 through 727.
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner White. May I have a second, please? seconded by Commissioner Campos. Questions on 719 through 727?
President Evans, real quick, 724.
724?
Describes a function of using teachers and counselors as in a registrar function to match incoming students, ninth grade cohort. It looks to me, from what I'm assuming that it means, like a very good thing, and I wanted to just acknowledge that. It looks like this is giving very individualized attention to students entering into high school to make sure they're in the best match for their secondary placements. Is that accurate? And if it is, thank you very much. I want to acknowledge the individual attention and precise work, because that's very important. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Commissioner Elliott.
You know, I am probably going to vote no on all these additional pay resolutions, but, Mr. Superintendent, is there a way in which we can measure what we've accomplished for the summer program?
Yep, that's an excellent question, and actually Karina is doing Beverly. We want to strengthen the metric, measure our results, and as President Evans just acknowledged, how our investment in this area is increasing. And we are going to have over 10,000 students. For some programs, we have more great clarity, in other we don't. But as we move forward, we are going to be putting some specific metric to measure whether summer program is working or not. But the approach for us is that it's going to be integrated to what's going on during the school year. So summer school in here, Karina, to your credit, and some of your colleagues, you had changed that concept in here. Summer program is not going to be seen as something that is bad for children. In this district, we are going to see that as necessary. We also are looking for the social-emotional support and enhancement. Our children deserve to be experiencing the arts, the music, the theater. Yes, fun activity at the same time that they're learning and progressing in their reading skills. So needless to say, we are looking through the Wallace Foundation. Actually, the district is part of a national study that I think, Karina, that study will conclude in about a year from now, 2 years from now. That also will help us inform strengthening the measure that we need to put in place in terms of whether summer school pay off. One metric that we want to measure is the summer learning loss, and something that, as you know, have been well established, that children who spend their summertime without being involved in educational activities such as reading or art or theater or going to museum, and they tend to suffer from the so-called summer learning loss. So when they come back in September, we had to reteach some of the things that we taught them during this school year. So your question is excellent. We also are going to have some Harbor Fellows in here back to what Commissioner White was saying about data. We are just in the beginning of this approach where we are going to be truly a data-driven organization, which is go to the heart of your question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else on 719 through 727? Hearing none. All those in favor of 719 through 727?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
1 no. Ayes have it. Carry 6-1. Procurement and supply, these have all gone through the Finance Committee. May I have a motion through 728 through 733? Moved by Commissioner Elliott, seconded by Commissioner Cruz. Questions, comments around 728 through 733? I don't know if there's anything you need to point out, Commissioner Powell, on these?
Nothing to point out.
All those in favor of 728 through 733, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you. 734 through 747 are educational facilities. The only thing I want to say around educational facilities before I ask for a motion on these is I want to thank the administration for placing 13 ROAR workers in our school district this summer. As you know, the ROAR program is a program that we've used to get our residents of Rochester prepared to participate in the millions of dollars that this district is reaping in benefits in terms of modernizing our buildings. And we're going to have 13 workers from that program that went through that program working on projects in the city. I know this in the city school district. And I also know that our counterparts at the city are also working to place those workers. So this is excellent, excellent, excellent news as we talk about building our base and also working to make sure that we employ more minorities on these jobs. So this is just great news. If there's somebody from the paper here, you should write about it. So I'll entertain a motion for resolutions 734 through 747.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Moved and second. Seconded by Commissioner Powell. Anything else around educational facilities?
Mr. President?
Commissioner Elliott.
There are, I'll start with my last question first because they are they're the same question, but for different companies. When we 744 through 747, my question is, do we have African Americans who are professionals that working in these organizations? And I'm going to start to ask this for every contract we enter into. So, Madam Chief of Human Capital Initiatives, or however we want, however we want to accomplish this. But I'm going to be asking the same question is, with IBC Engineering Firm, are there professional African Americans that are working in this organization? With the asbestos testing and analysis, do we employ environmental consultants? Also for 746, 747, I want to know, do we have professional African Americans that are working in these firms?
Mr. Lopez, Council Lopez, when we do contract or bidding, do we ask the company for the demographic of the workforce? Would you mind to follow up on that, please?
And are we demanding that if they want to do business with the district, that we hire maybe demanding is the wrong word. All right, so are we, whatever the word is, I'm going to use demanding and you all can straighten me out later. But if they want to do business, that they make sure that they hire particularly African American professionals in these organizations.
I would suggest that you take it offline.
All right, thank
Council.
you. Thank you. And then 734, what is groups? Can you define what we mean by groups? Group A, B, C, D? If you look at groups on page 94.
Is that
it's just it's a title.
Is that
What's
Dr.
that group? What does that mean?
Is that Dr. Ansborough? 734.
Page 94.
Probably something Gary can answer.
He's not here. Is Gary?
Who's on 734? Is that Gary?
They can get back to me what that is.
This is Anita.
All right, somebody get back to Commissioner Elliott. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to know what do those groups represent? Group A, B, C.
I think it's the school plow or the building is for. Yep.
I mean, usually you do them in different zones, and you break them into groups A, B, A through P.
Okay.
Okay, any other on 734 through
735, President Evans. The differential between the spending in 2010 and 11 and 2011 and 12. Somebody can get back to me on that.
We will.
Okay.
And then 742, I think is the last one. I'd like this to be answered today, 742. This is the Excel aid for World of Inquiry. The SED approval was 43 million, and now it's amended to 38 million. Can you explain that differential, please?
Yeah.
742, we're going to explain the differential on Excel aid from 43 to 38 million.
Excel aid was an aid given to all school districts that was 100% aidable.
Okay.
Normal building aid on construction is aidable at a rate determined by poverty level. In this district, it happens to be 98%. That's the differential between Excel aid and normal reimbursement aid.
So we didn't need as much as what you're saying?
Yes, because you have Excel aid factored in there.
All right, thank you.
Anything else on 734 through 747? Okay. All those in favor of 734 through 747, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. 748 is Information Management and Technology for Rimini Street. Entertain a motion for 748. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion 748, Commissioner
Yeah,
Elliott.
my question I still would have the question for this. Are there African-American professionals who are working in this company as well?
Thank you. We'll get back to that. Anything else on 748? All those in favor of 748, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
I just hit just real quick, and it's something that administration can get back to me on.
Mhm.
I'm curious about with the amount of IT, I don't know if we can track the usage of the IT, going back to the different applications that we have. So that was a follow-up question, so it wasn't directly related to 748, but it's still something, the two questions that I still have outstanding, I would still like responses from.
Yeah, well, we will follow it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion for resolutions 749 through 763. Moved by Commissioner White. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Elliott. Discussion around 749 through 763. If there's no objections, I'm gonna pull out resolution 759 to discuss that one separately. So 749 through 763, with the exception of resolution 759. Anything around 749 through
Yeah,
763?
I don't understand Resolution 763. So this is by Commissioner Adams, if she can explain
Commissioner Adams,
the
if you can
intent of this
discuss, if you can explain the intent to resolution 763?
Sure. This has been discussed in the Finance Committee over the past couple of months. The intent of the resolution is to clarify the board's role with respect to its fiduciary responsibilities in terms of, in particular, facilities that could in the future be given to or shared with charter operators. And the intention here is to clarify that the board should not give up its fiduciary responsibility for making those decisions. So it's not saying that that could never be considered in the future, but it's saying that it should be considered by the full Board of Education.
So how did this come about, Commissioner Adams?
Because this has been on the books since Mr. Brizard was here, when it was put in place in 2010. And it basically was signed establishing a contract that set up a series of intended commitments between district and charter schools.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Anything else on 749 through 763, with the exception of 759? We'll vote on that one separately. We'll talk about that one separately. Okay? All those in favor of 749 through 763, with the exception of 759, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
751 and 763.
Okay? No, no's there. Resolution number 759 is approving a position. I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 759.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Discussion on 759. Discussion on 759.
I have some concerns regarding the reference to Appendix A, because Appendix A is not fully reconciled with our recently approved budget. And the problem with approving this resolution as is that it would then approve unbudgeted items within Appendix A.
Right. So what I would recommend is that we, there's one position in Appendix A. What was the title? What was the title of that position?
Chief of School.
The one that's being requested to be added?
Transformation.
Yeah. Chief of, what is it called?
Chief of School Transformation.
I mean, I would recommend that that the resolution read that we approve the position of chief of school transformation and allow the superintendent and his staff to reconcile in the entire Appendix A, because if you look at some of the names in Appendix A, they don't match up with what is in the budget. For example, there's a senior director of communications, but that's not listed in our last budget book as a position that is budgeted for. So we need to reconcile Appendix A with what is actually budgeted for. And I mentioned this to the superintendent before, so we can get that cleaned up. So if we could, if I can get an amendment to.
Mr. President, wouldn't it make more sense to table this resolution altogether until such time as the list of SEG titles actually does match Table A?
Yeah, it would make sense, but the only reason why it would make sense, but it would not make sense if the position that I mentioned, if the superintendent is looking at advancing an individual for that position that is already included in Appendix A. I mean, it could stifle whatever it is that he wants to do in the next 30 days prior to a board meeting. That's why we said that. That's why we wanted to deal with that particular position. The main reason for bringing the entire resolution is because these other positions we're not even dealing with right now, but the position that was just mentioned, the chief of, what is it?
School transformation.
School transformation is a position that is looking to be filled soon, preferably before, in the next 30 days. So, I mean, we can table it. We may have to have a special meeting to do that. It's the board's pleasure, but that's why, that was the reason why I mentioned it.
If this position is in the 2013-14 budget, then maybe the resolution should drop references to Appendix A and simply refer to adding this title and this title alone.
That's what I'm proposing.
And, okay.
And that's what I'm seeking a motion for, so if I get a motion on that.
If I could advance the following amendment, replace the resolved paragraph with resolved to add the position and title of Chief of School Transformation, provided this is supported by our 2013-14 budget, and direct the superintendent to reconcile the SEG titles to Appendix A.
Okay.
And just one added clarification, the resolution that was passed in February regarding the SEG does require that reconciliation prior to July 1st of this year, and then every year going forward. So the problem was that it looked as if this was a reconciliation, but there really is a much more full reconciliation that has to take place, involving several positions.
Right, we need the reconciliation done. But on the proposed amendment to the motion, I need to get a second for discussion on the amendment. Seconded by Commissioner Elliott. Discussion on the amendment to the motion to replace that with the position of school transformation, and that we reconcile Appendix A with the proposed 2013-14 budget. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that? Any further discussion on that? All right, all those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you.
I'm opposed.
Okay, one opposed. The ayes have it. Now we're back on the original resolution number 759, which has been amended. Any other further conversations around 759? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. That concludes our resolutions, 749 through 763. We're done with the exception of resolutions 701A and 712 and 713. We'll take those into an executive session. We have no unfinished business from a previous meeting, but under new business, we have some policies. Yes.
We actually do. If you recall, I sent out to all of my colleagues a memo to you, President Evans, regarding the reinstatement of the Human Resource Committee.
Personnel.
And what I'd like to have done, if we can refer that to, unless you have any questions, but I'd like to be able to refer that to Governance Committee if there is no objection.
If there are no objections, I will refer the resolution to the Governance Committee that Commissioner Elliott proposed. No objections. All right, that is so ordered that will be referred to Governance. and taken up in governance. Thank you, Commissioner Elliott.
Thank you.
I'm passing around Commissioner Elliott's proposal. New business, Commissioner Cruz, if you want to discuss briefly about the policies submitted to discussions, the revisions. There are a list of policies that need to be approved. If you want to discuss those.
Yes, you'll see.
They're discussion items.
They're discussion items. They're all listed there. There's, I don't know, there's about 20 different policies there, so I want to get into a whole lot of detail, but they're there and available for you. If you have any questions, please let us know. A lot of these are real just technical changes to the language to respond to state changes in laws and things like that. So many of them are just kind of technical. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
And we will take those, we will approve those in the July meeting. The next meeting is going to be July 25th at 6:30. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor, aye. Just so anyone that's here, meeting is basically over. We will not be coming back upstairs. We'll be adjourning from the superintendent's conference room. We'll be adjourning from the superintendent's conference room, and we're done. See you all July 25th. Ed? No lollygagging downstairs, please.
Translate that into Spanish? What's the Spanish word for
Every meeting.